use the hypnotist persuader skills to back up and try to deduce, what's really driving things. And when people said I was a Trump supporter, what they meant was, they may have only seen part of what I was talking about. I was writing about his skill as a persuader. And what I mean is that I noticed in him the skills that I've developed over decades for persuasion, but at a higher level than I've ever seen, meaning that he is the most persuasive living human I've ever experienced. And I mean that in terms
for some strange reason, and they don't necessarily have to be. Like a nice cup of coffee gets you high.
Yeah.
I mean, it does. Look, I drink a cup of coffee in the morning, and I start slapping my hands together, and I want to start doing shit,
If I drank that little caveman coffee nitro, I'd be bouncing off the walls.
Yeah,
because that's so strong, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I love it. I think it should be legal, and I think that, if Kratom's in the same league as coffee, and Starbucks is the biggest business in our country, like, why is it so bad?
So since the people, people that are sober and that are helping you with that, they have concerns about it, and there's a lot of people that, it seems like this is a drug, or a plant, I should say, that just does not have enough, there's not enough data.
There's not enough research.
Not enough research, yeah.
And that's...
According to the fitness people on TV, if you feel thirsty, you're too late!
You say a laugh never lies.
Mm-hmm.
You can read a laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that laugh means.
Mm-hmm.
What's a bad laugh?
I do a thing with my kids, because I'm always trying to make them laugh, and, sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. And they'll give you one of these, they'll go, I said, don't give me the cha. I'd rather have nothing than a cha. How are you going to start feeling better sleeping in a deathbed?
Making people laugh is all Jerry Seinfeld has done for the past 40 years.
These are our deathbeds over here.
It's a business where failure has deadly consequences.
Is that a death clock radio? Yes, but there's no snooze. Either you get up or you don't.
You say that you have to have the killer instinct.
Comedy has death nearby. And that has to be addressed. That has to be dealt with. It's kind of like one of us is going to win tonight.
So it's a game.
It's a game.
And
there can only be one winner tonight.
You're
and it's going to be me.
Everyone to see New York like this on a beautiful day like this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, look at that. New York is Jerry Seinfeld's hometown. It's a place that keeps his humor alive and is the source of many of his jokes.
I think it's the funniest city. Everybody here's a little funny.
Yeah, a little on edge.
A little on edge, a little anxious.
Little
complaining.
Little cranky.
A little cranky. Yeah, that's my brand.
Why do you love comedy? Why did you choose this profession?
It's happy. I love to see people smile and feel happy. Makes me happy. Makes them happy. It's childhood. When you're a kid, all you're doing is making each other laugh. That's all you're doing. And then you grow up, and everybody goes and gets these jobs, and they seem so sad. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to keep having fun.
Seinfeld had plenty of fun when he co-wrote what would become the most successful sitcom in American history.
Hello, Newman.
The sea was angry that day, my friends.
I've yada-yada sex.
A television show that left us with lines that are still being uttered today.
We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I double-dipped the chip. Serenity now!
For 9 seasons, Jerry played a semi-fictional version of himself.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Along the way, making his co-stars household names.
I'm out of the contest. She screams, George, what are you doing, my God?
It made his local soup kitchen famous.
No soup for you.
And saw the puffy shirt
It's perfect.
become an exhibit in the Smithsonian, the National Museum of American History.
You can't come out dressed like that. You're all puffed up.
And where would you be, do you think, if Seinfeld hadn't taken off?
I like to think I wouldn't have become bitter, but that's a tall order, you know. A failed TV series, like a failed presidential campaign, that sticks with you.
Would you be interested in bringing it back?
Oh, no.
Done.
Done. What could I do to it to make it better?
Older crowd. No,
If you can't make it better, don't touch it.
not possible.
Not possible.
Just talking? Well, what's the show about?
Seinfeld,
It's about nothing.
like most of Jerry's comedy, was based on not much.
I thought we came in over there.
Mainly annoying everyday events.
George, am I beautiful?
Comedy always begins in irritation.
Ah.
The oyster, the grain of sand, and hopefully the pearl. Irritation, what's bothering me?
So what is bothering you?
I pick up the phone, I say hello. The other person calling me says, hello? You're calling. Be ready. What do you want? That bothers me. So that's how I go, that bothers me. So then I have to find out, does it bother anybody else? Right?
Yes.
So I go up on stage, I start talking about it. If you hear the reaction, oh yes, it does bother other people. I go, if you're making the call, there's only one hello. I say hello, you say what the hell you want. That's how phone calls work. Beer is never cold enough for Americans. Every commercial, frost brewed, cold filtered, ice bottled. We pack it in the glacier, put it on the back of a frozen truck driven by a polar bear. By the time it gets to you, it's 1 degree below room temperature. That's the best we could do.
When you appear on stage, there's an applause and an expectation. Do you feel that?
No.
You don't feel the expectation? What do you feel?
Because my expectation is far greater than anything that they could have. That's what I got to deal with, is my own expectation.
Does that mean you still get nervous?
No. But being self-critical and when you're kind of alone out there, there's a lot of negative self-talk going on. You're doing your show and there's a voice going, you stink. Why are you even doing this? You should never have been a comedian.
So-
You should have picked something else.
How do you deal with that?
That's a good question. I don't really have a technique for that, and I have a technique for almost everything. I do.
Because I'd like to know that. Because I think everybody is beset with negative thoughts at some stage.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have that when you,
yeah, occasionally, yeah.
like in a moment like this, you could be thinking, I should have come up with a better question than that. That's Fifth Avenue there. I live across the park on the other side. That's kind of the less fancy,
Really?
little more writery type of. This is the more businessy. Fancy clothes, fancy stores. Over there, we don't have that.
You have to know your place, do you? Your place is over there.
My place is over there.
Your place is not here.
Not here.
No.
I will come here, but I can't stay here.
Frankly, Jerry and his wife Jessica and their 3 kids could live anywhere. And with an estimated wealth of $800 million, Jerry needn't even bother working. But he does, writing every day, continuing to do stand-up comedy, and producing his latest TV project, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
We're just going to run out for a quick coffee. We'll be right back.
You're a comedian with the president going nowhere. Back it up.
Yes, sir.
A program that gives him the perfect excuse to interview his favorite people in his greatest obsession, cars.
I remember very well not being famous.
You think it was okay?
It wasn't that great.
Yeah.
It was...
You think being famous is better? Yes?
Yeah.
You believe that you can tell a lot about someone by their wife or husband, their car, and their shoes.
And the shoes.
So what do your shoes tell us about you?
I would say this shoe says, can't deal. Struggling to deal. Trying to deal, but struggling. Sneakers say I'm struggling
Right.
with the real world.
My boots? What do they say?
Well, They don't look brand new. So I think you really like them. So to me that says I like these, and I'm going to wear them even though the toe is getting a bit scruffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
But I don't really care.
I can't throw them out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm correct then. You really like those.
Yeah. At 62, Jerry Seinfeld could be forgiven for hanging up his sneakers, but he's far from it. Jerry is headed to Australia next year. It's been 18 years since he last visited, but we seem to have left a lasting impression.
I mean, I meet them all the time. You know, if there's an Australian in the room, they're coming over to me. I love Australia. I love Australian people. I love their way. I love to meet them. I love your funny talking that you do. I love the whole thing.
Our funny talk.
Yeah, the fake accent. I love it.
It's so true.
Yeah, it's all fake.
Jerry Seinfeld is in a comedic league of his own, but he takes nothing for granted.
You have a dog, and they give you a leash there's an extra leash wound up inside in case the dog pulls it. You hit the button, let the line out like he's a marlin.
Neither the success he enjoys nor the job that he knows is like no other. It is an extraordinary job to have, where a wave of affection is part of the reward.
It's heavy drugs. Heavy drugs. A painter doesn't feel it. A novelist doesn't feel it. But I mean, if you're on stage in front of thousands of people and you connect together, I mean, you're just shaking. You feel it very in the gut.
Well, you're blessed, because how many comedians don't make it?
Almost all of them.
It's painful.
It's very painful, yeah.
And the reason you make it is because people laugh. It's as simple as that.
Right.
If you don't make them laugh...
If you don't make them laugh, you don't do this job.
Over.
Yeah.
When we got married, everything seemed perfect. But there was always this feeling that something was missing. When we first found out we were going to have a baby, we really couldn't control our excitement.
Jerry Seinfeld is here. You know him best for his hit series Seinfeld. For 9 seasons, we laughed at Jerry and his quirky New York City friends. The show's motto was simple: no hugging, no learning. Here is a look.
I can't wear this puffy shirt on TV. I mean, look at it. It looks ridiculous.
Well, you gotta wear it now. All those stores are stocking it based on the condition that you're gonna wear this on the TV show. The factory in New Jersey is already making them.
They're making these?
Yes. This pirate trend that she's come up with, Jerry, this is gonna be the new look for the 90s. You're gonna be the first pirate.
Well, I don't want to be a pirate. Do women know about shrinkage?
What do you mean, like laundry?
No.
Like when a man goes swimming afterwards.
It shrinks?
Like a frightened turtle.
So you think you're sponge-worthy?
Yes, I think I'm sponge-worthy. I think I'm very sponge-worthy.
Run down your case for me again.
Well, we've gone out several times. We obviously have a good rapport. I own a very profitable electronics distributing firm. I eat well. I exercise. Blood tests, immaculate. And if I can speak frankly, I'm actually quite good at it.
You gonna do something about your sideburns?
Yeah, I told you.
But then I can't tell you the big news.
for the Kennedy assassination. It's like not even news, it's total shock.
Oh, come on, Jerry, please, 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 please.
George Costanza
Yeah?
is getting married!
One mulligatawny, and, what is that right there? Is that lima bean?
Yes.
Never been a big fan. You know what? Has anyone ever told you look exactly like Al Pacino? You know, Son of a Woman?
Very good. Very good. You know something? No, sir, for you. Come back. 1 year.
I am pleased to have Jerry Seinfeld here. Welcome.
Thanks, Charlie. You know, if we were at a restaurant, I'd say, can we get a smaller table? But
It just fits.
But it works.
You know, you can do a lot of things with this table.
yeah, it's good for your side.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of stuff over there.
Well, exactly. I have things I might want. You have your coffee. I have some
Yeah.
things I may want.
All right.
But thank you for coming.
Thank you for being. You know why I wanted to see you as I'm doing this whole promo tour is I really wanted to thank you for the show you did about the TV series 9 years ago. I thought it was the best kind of analysis of what the show was and what it meant when it went off the air. And I just loved that show. It was the best thing of all the magazine articles and all the things that people did about it. I loved yours the best. So I wanted to come back and say that, you know.
Thank you.
You know how to do it.
Thank you. You sent me a note, which I very much appreciate.
Yes.
Just a quick mention of Seinfeld, and we're going to talk about it.
Let's get more plugs going.
Next Tuesday, this will hit there. You can have them all, every single episode in one DVD
Yeah,
collection.
180 shows on there, and then 100 hours of other stuff.
Right. And then what is this? This is just the last
That's
year.
just if you just
season
want
9.
the last year, just the 1 year.
All right. Why had you resisted movies for so long?
Well, if you look at that thing there, what's in that box?
It's like 53 movies.
That's right. 53 movies is in that box.
Yeah.
If they were movies. That's a career.
Yeah.
That's a whole career in that box.
The creation of Seinfeld.
The creation of it.
Yeah. How did it happen?
Is that a question?
Yeah, it's a question. How did it
happen?
Larry come to you, or did you go to
I
Larry?
didn't go to him as much as I kind of turned in the bar at Catch a Rising Star
Yeah.
and said, hey, I had a meeting the other day with NBC. They were interested in me doing some kind of show. He says, what kind of show? I go, I don't know. He says, I have no ideas. I never have any ideas. I don't know how I do these things. I have no ideas.
Did you actually say that? I have no ideas. I don't know.
I have no
they
idea.
just want me to do because they think
That
I'm
was it.
attractive on TV.
That was
I
it.
do good stand-up and they like
Yeah.
me.
An hour goes by.
Yeah.
He says, you want to get something to eat? I go, yeah. So we go across the street to the Korean deli on 1st Avenue and 78. And we're wandering around the deli. You know those delis where they got all kinds of stuff in there, you know, and we go up to the cash register.
And a lot of stuff on the street, too.
A lot of stuff on the street, and there's sometimes there's weird stuff, you know, there's like no labels, just big Newtons wrapped up in cellophane with nothing, no identification.
You know where it came from?
You
No.
just go, yeah, I'll take a shot on that.
Right.
So we start making fun of the products. And he says to me, this is what the show should be. I go, what? He says, just two comedians talking. Because this is what comedians do.
Yeah.
They wander around during the day with nothing to do and make fun of everything that they say. He said, we should do a show with just two comedians walking down the street making fun of everything. And that was the genesis of the idea.
Was he going to be one of the comedians?
No.
It was never. He was always going to be the creator-writer.
Yeah.
Along with you.
Yeah.
And David would be him. George would be him.
No.
No?
Well, George was originally a comedian.
Right.
In the beginning. And then we thought, well, then if George is a comedian, then you got to see his act, or you're going to want to see it. Let's just make him a regular guy. So I'll be a comedian, he'll be a regular guy.
He's not David, though, Larry David.
What we did is when we came up with story ideas, we figured which character could do this idea. And a lot of times, Larry's ideas fit George very well. But we never tried to make George into an alter ego of Larry.
Some say this was the perfect marriage, you and Larry David. A magical relationship.
It was.
Different sensibilities.
But not different comedic sensibilities. Different kind of guys. But it was one of those perfect partnerships where he saw a lot of big picture story. He knew exactly what would be a great story for the show. He created tons of stories for the show. And I had a great sense of mechanics of comedy and detail of lines and, so we if any idea could pass through both of our filters, it would work. If I thought it's funny and he thought it was funny, it almost always was funny.
And what if he thought it was funny and you didn't? You didn't go with it?
It would depend. You know, in a partnership, you give and take. But we had some kind of filtering system. Because that's what a sitcom is you sit in an office and writers come in all day and pitch you stories. And you have to say, let's do that, let's not do that. And if you're there by yourself, one person's instinct is really not good enough to churn out that amount of material.
But the test was you'll never put anything on that's not funny.
Well, as best you can. Comedy is like hitting a baseball, you know. If you just try and improve your average, nobody hits 1,000.
Did you study comedy?
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, no, you can't study it. Formally?
Well, no. I don't mean you go to school and say, I want to be a comedian, how do I get a PhD in comedy? But in a sense, I mean, you looked at it through an analytical eye, saying, why does that work? And what do I have to do?
Yes.
And where is my timing and where do I need to take it?
Yes.
A young comedian comes to you and says, you know, tell me what I need to know to be a comedian. What do you tell him?
Just work.
Just work.
Just work.
There's nothing you have a theory about logic and all that in the absurd, and you got to figure out a precise way to prove something that's unprovable.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things that a good comedian can do is take an absurd premise and prove it with rigorous logic.
Yeah, right.
That sounds very logical. And you take something completely fatuous and then...
Did you learn that somewhere, or did it just sort of...
I just kind of observed it, you know. I look at a lot of good jokes and I realize that they have that in common. But as a kid, yes, I would write down jokes that I saw on TV and I would try and figure out why they were funny. And I mean, I never get tired of why is that funny. I never get tired of talking about it or analyzing it. And I'm very scientific about it. But all good comedy, I think, is intellectual. You know, even somebody like Steve Martin, who's written this fantastic, I think the best book ever written about comedy that's coming out, I think, in a couple months, called The Comic's Life.
Yeah.
And
Which is his memoir, is it?
It's his memoir of his life as a comedian. Now, there's a guy, I think a lot of people would think, well, he was just silly. You know, he was silly. No, he was incredibly intellectual. And when you put intellectualism with an arrow through the head, that makes you laugh. Just an arrow through the head does not make you laugh. So it's the head behind the joke that makes the audience laugh.
Richard Pryor.
Well, Richard Pryor is, you know, I think the most artistic and the most inventive. You know, I mean, nobody did comedic narrative like he did, like that Mudbone story. I mean, it's so long and so detailed. It's like a novella, that story, and yet it's joke. It's never humor. It's comedy. Humor is gentler and more relaxed.
And comedy is?
Comedy is, I'm not saying it unless it's going to result in a laugh.
Someone once said that comedians love humanity and hate individuals.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true.
What did they mean?
Well, comedians often are socially frustrated, but they want to connect with someone else, and they find through this pinhole of complete blackness of an audience, I can relate to people. They understand me. I can communicate with them. But there are more social skills required to talk one-on-one than there are to talk to 2,000 people. You don't have to be socially...
Sexy is like when a woman can just let go, be vulnerable, accept herself in the moment, and actually take time to just focus on connecting rather than, oh my God, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Is he gonna see, oh my God, he's gonna fucking see my fucking mole. Oh my, what the fuck?
Yeah.
My triceps are fucking huge.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's like you're just so focused thinking about your own body that you're not focusing at the task at hand.
Yeah.
So how did you girls stop and overcome that?
I still think about it.
Then you're not connecting with Casey.
I think you do still, because remember, if you don't shave, you don't let me eat you out.
Well, I'm just trying to do you a favor, and I'm...
Well, how is it his favor when he's the one that's offering?
Well, then, but does it happen?
I have to fight? I gotta
No,
fight
you
with your
don't.
hand. So what I have to do is
If he said he had to fight, then that means you're resisting.
She's laying there on the bed, and her hands are right here. I grab her hands from underneath her thighs like this, and then I go...
Oh, my God.
I can imagine it. Hey, Bar, how do you eat pussy? She's doing that for like 5 minutes.
That's why I resist it, because it's like that. It's fucking horrible.
sex in creative, fun ways if the dude is shorter than the girl. Because it's usually the opposite.
But you could always use a stool, pillow.
We do. So you know, like for the,
You know, I got platforms to fuck Gio with, specifically made for sex.
no, you know when we have sex in the shower, with like you know how there's that. So usually, like if I'm banging you from behind, my dick it can't reach the hole. So you know where the shower door closes, there's that ledge.
I don't want to know this.
So you open the shower
You
door.
know when you go to our restroom, that ledge? I go to your restroom like every week, guys. Stop it.
Coming out. So I open the glass door, I stand on that ledge, and I have her spread her legs a little bit wider, and boom, we can do it.
Damn.
Right there.
But that's one position she
But
can
what
use.
sucks about that is since the water now hits her on the back, and it goes down to her ass crack, and it washes away all the natural lubricants. So there is a problem there sometimes.
Hey, but your guys' shower head is removable.
Not anymore. Yeah. So there's that one.
I know too much about your bathroom.
But that's one of the big fault. And then also if I do her doggy style in the bed, then we have her knees spread further apart, and then I keep my knees a little bit closer so it hits it right in the right area.
True.
You know, there's times where you're on top of me and you do something, and I'm like, I'm gonna come in 10 seconds. Countdown, 10, 9.
Oh my god.
Well, what's going on?
Yeah, what do you do, Gio?
There's something that you're doing. I'm like, no.
Honestly,
The spaceship is going to the moon.
this is gonna sound really selfish, but I just do whatever feels good for me.
He's just a fucking flesh stick.
You know what I like that you do?
We're not talking about that. No, I don't want to know. What did she do? What did she do? Shut up. We're just talking about sex.
Did she feel it?
I learned something new that I didn't even know about.
What?
No, well, you say yours and I'll say mine.
So what
I fucked up.
So what I like that Gio does is, so sometimes we get busy, right, and we don't have time to take a shower right before sex. So maybe we didn't take a shower the whole day, we go to sleep, and then we wake up the next day and we're busy, and then all of a sudden we're gonna have sex for some reason. So of course my dick is gonna smell like shit. But what Gio will do is instead, so like I know my dick's dirty, so I don't even want Gio near it. But she is such a great woman and role model that what she does is, so she peels the convertible back, and then she'll spit on it a few times, and then jack me off to rub off all the gunk, and spit some more, rub off all the gunk to the point where it's clean now.
But it also feels good.
And it feels good. So, and then I'm like, oh God, please don't suck my dick even though I want you to. And then she does all of that, and I'm like, oh, what a great lady. Instead of like avoiding the dick suckery, she approaches it with confidence, and she cleans it.
Marry that woman.
Well, with the powers vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss the bride.
Thanks, Mom Bear, for the pills.
What are you doing? It's cold.
Your butt can make music, Mom Bear.
Ow! What the hell?
You know, and if the guy's getting lip, you just gotta.
Your sex life.
You gotta provide first aid immediately and fix the problem and get right back to it.
True, just
or
like.
we piss each other off.
Are we pissed? Yeah, or we just get.
Sometimes I'll be so horny and then she pisses me off and I'm like, you don't deserve it.
I know Gio Pussy's amazing, and I know that he's like not gonna ever do anything because this shit is all mob. So I'm not tripping.
My dick is also delicious.
Yeah.
So that's how you gotta look at it, Rebecca.
It's
like my dick is my antenna and I just want to feel with the antenna. So I just want to be like, let my dick do the talking.
You're always gonna hear girls talking about how it's not the best taste. Just swallow it really quickly. You don't even have to worry
I love
about
when
it.
you do that. It's awesome. It makes me feel very welcomed.
Shut your
For me, even like if I'm fucking tired as shit, and if someone wants to give me a blowjob and they go, you know what, you don't have to do any work, I'm like, let's do it.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
Yes. When have you volunteered and go, honey, this time you ain't gotta do shit.
Yeah, I've done that, and then because you're so tired, that it just doesn't get hard.
No, it always gets hard.
Really?
No, that's a lie.
Okay.
That's a lie.
Okay.
It always
Girls don't
gets
forget
hard.
these things.
No.
Because it's a blow to our
No,
ego.
it always gets hard. Have you ever dealt with a pre-coming motherfucker? Am I a pre-coming motherfucker?
Yeah.
I am a pre-coming?
Yeah.
I am?
Yeah,
You do that shit 3 times.
I don't know. I don't know.
You are.
Oh.
Yeah, and I tell you that shit's hot. I tell you all the time. Are you even there? I must have a loose ass vagina because everyone that sits in that seat always says it hurt them.
I think Mexican vagina is just different. They're just ready.
But I'm Filipino and white.
I don't know.
Your
vagina is darker than your face.
I know what she's feeling because I have a darker vagina too.
So does she.
Oh, then there you go.
I like watching girls give themselves orgasm.
When do you watch girls give themselves orgasm?
I haven't done that very much, but when the times that it happens, I like it.
What was the last time it happened?
I think one time I was downloading a torrent, and on the side I saw this girl going, want an MP3? And she was like,
Did you buy the MP3?
No.
So you guys wake up doing sex?
There's that time. Those are really weird. It's like randomly, like I remember I'm sleeping, and then all of a sudden, like it's like 4 a.m. and then my dick's all wet. It's weird. But like we wake up in like doggy style or something.
How?
I don't know. Like
you wake up doggy style.
Honestly, I thought it was him that was like trying to seduce me to like have sex with him, but then he's thinking I'm trying to seduce him, but somehow we just end up having sex.
Yeah, I just wake up and like my hands around her waist already. I'm like, what the hell?
That's amazing.
For me, it's when she's telling me she's about to come, then randomly I need to come too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Just fucking keep it a mystery and just go. Don't tell me.
And I try to serve the country and do the most patriotic thing, which is let her come first and then I come after. So I'm like, holding on for dear life. And then she goes, and then I go, 4th of July.
Have you guys ever had prostate orgasms before?
No. I'm curious, but I'm not down to try it.
Aw, come on.
No, I mean like, I've had a couple girls try to put their finger in my asshole.
She tried to do it too.
Yeah, but you know what my butthole does? It just like, as soon as it goes, bah! Please!
I also like to do weird shit all the time because it keeps her on her toes and then it makes the relationship really fresh. Sometimes I just pee on her in the shower, or sometimes like I'll see her like brushing her teeth, so I pick out her dirty underwear out of the laundry and I just hold it to my nose. She goes, give me that, and I run away.
That's like a lady boner killer, dude.
No, but we just do a bunch of weird shit all the time, and then our relationship is like, it's always fun, it's spontaneous, and it's just craziness. It's just me and her, but then it's like a circus at home.
But I've never done it. I will never do it. I will never pee on him. Well, I shouldn't say never, but I don't think I would.
You would never R. Kelly me?
If he wanted me to. It'd be fucking weird, but I do it.
Interesting, guys.
I'm open to the idea just because why not?
So you want to put a gag ball in your mouth?
I don't know.
Walk
Yeah.
around like a dog and I whip you?
Maybe. Yeah.
Try it tonight then.
Sounds that way.
I even like it if the girl just starts farting or even takes a shit. Cause I'm like,
That's weird.
I made her feel so good she couldn't control herself.
What's
So wait,
wrong
Gio,
with
if
you?
you were fucking Gio and you literally fucked the shit out of her, that would turn you on.
I'm like, damn, I did a good job.
Oh shit!
If me and Gio just started dating and then she just threw up on the table, got on top of the table, popped the squat and started taking a shit, and if I liked her, I'd be like, I don't know why you did that, but let's you want to go out tomorrow?
That's so cute.
The part I'm still trying to get more comfortable with is eating butthole. That part's kind of scary.
What about if you have stinky butt?
What's stinky butt, like yours?
That was such a bird shot. Because if I wanted you to go down on me on my period and you said no, I'd be like, all right, I get it.
I'd go down on your period.
Oh.
Well, I mean, like,
It's like medium rare. It's like,
Oh my god.
I licked her butt before, but just the end. I don't want to get too close to the hole. That's kind of. Cause I'm like,
hey man, Don't you know that song? Gotta eat the booty like ghosts. You do.
Good morning. Good morning, my bear. Good morning. You big cutie. Good morning, Patino. Good morning, Papa. You little monkey. I'm a chipmunk. Good morning, little chipmunk. Did you know that this is my favorite face of you? Before all the makeup and all that stuff, before you look like a beautiful supermodel, this is the most peaceful, cutie face. Why? Because it's so peaceful. Everyone sees a super mean, ugly face. I see the cutest, peaceful angel face. Big cutie. I love you. Me too. I wonder what your breath smells like, though. Not very good. You're very cutie. Not very bad. How did you sleep? Yes, I'm glad I just died. Me too. I usually pee in the middle of the night. But I just knocked out. I think this week was so crazy. And then my alarm just went off right now. And I was like, oh shoot, I didn't pee in the middle of the night. So I gotta wake up and it's time to train. Our cars, and there are hella nice cars on this floor. So check it out. Right in front of me, there's a new M3 with those brand new limited edition wheels that I read about. And then over here, there's a Aston Martin. I don't know what it is. Vanquish, Vanish, whatever. Range Rover, all the other regular cars. And then there's more nice cars over here. Bam! We got a Ferrari up in this, straight up white Ferrari. And then bam, we got a Mama Bear, limited edition.
One of a kind.
And then we got bam, CRV. Oh. Did you know that CRV is my mom's favorite car for the longest time? You know, most people when they buy...
I think she had one before her car, right?
Yeah. So right now she has a Lexus SUV. Before that, she had 2 CRVs at the same time.
Want to know something funny?
What?
Your son thinks you're taking way too long.
How do you know?
Point to the bottom. Oh, he just got up. He was laying down because he's just like, come on. And he was laying down on this floor.
Sorry, Meatloaf. We're just talking. Oh, is that right? Is that right? You're just...
Stop just sitting everywhere.
You're just over it. You know, out of all the dogs I've ever owned, I've never had a dog sit down.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening to our podcast. Before we get started, I just want to say if you are enjoying the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes and give us a positive review if you feel so moved, and give us a 5-star rating if you think it deserves it. It really helps. It helps people find us. It helps people see the podcast and find it more easily and more quickly, and we would really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Now let's listen to our episode.
Empty your mind. Like water. I want to roll. I want to crash.
Welcome to the Bruce Lee Podcast, a podcast about Bruce Lee's life and philosophy.
Be water, my
Hi everyone, this is Shannon Lee.
And this is Sharon Lee.
And welcome to the Bruce Lee Podcast.
Welcome.
Today we have a special guest on the podcast with us. We have Steve Aoki.
Hey guys.
Hi. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
And this is a little bit of a new experiment for us. We've just been talking about Bruce Lee's philosophy every episode, but we have a lot of really devoted fans of all kinds, and Steve is a Bruce Lee fan, and
mega fan. Yeah.
And we thought it would be great to have some guests on the show to really have an in-depth conversation about how the philosophy affects them and their lives and stories that they want to tell about their Bruce Lee moments.
That sounds awesome. I'm definitely the first on the list for the fan moments.
Yeah, it's interesting that since we've been doing the podcast and it's only been a couple months, we've been getting so many emails from really all over the world, like really so varied, about how, really meaningful the Bruce Lee and his philosophy is for people. And what's also been interesting is that it's really useful for people. Like, they're kind of using it in a day-to-day context for helping them out of tough situations or inspiring them. And so he's been deceased now for almost 50 years, and still the philosophy is really...
And the influence, too.
Yeah, like, it's really...
Power and influence of just his brand, his image. It's not, his philosophy 100%, but, like, just who he was during this time, in popular culture, and how he broke through in his own way. And for me, one of the most important things, he was Asian.
Mm-hmm.
He's an Asian man that broke through when no Asian men could do it. Even now, to this day, you don't see Asian men that can really shape popular culture and be a pillar, that everyone, a global community rallies around.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for Asians to do that, so... he really did that. And, I mean, that's for me, like, just the general, feeling growing up as a kid. I was like, wow, Bruce Lee has touched everybody, like everyone. It's not just Chinese or Asian people or people that are martial artists.
Right, yeah.
Like, you don't have to be a martial artist. You don't have to be Asian. You don't have to be Chinese. You don't have to like nunchucks or
yellow jumpsuits.
Yeah.
Although both are awesome.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. The way I like to think of it is that, like, his energy is actually still alive.
Yeah.
Like, you can still feel it today, and it's still moving and inspiring people.
Right.
And it's the philosophy is just sort of like the words to the feeling of who he was. Well, I do want to thank you for being here, because we have seen your documentary on Netflix.
Thank you guys for
called
picking that.
I'll Sleep When I'm Dead.
Yeah.
And so we know that you're very busy.
And you're mostly in the air.
Yeah, so
or
thank
on
you
a
for
stage somewhere.
Right, so thank you for coming off stage and being on the ground for a few minutes to come talk to us.
Any opportunity for me to be here, I'll be here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And we've met before. We've done some interviews before, so it's good to see you again. So when do you think you first became aware of Bruce Lee? Like, what age were you, do you think?
I mean, I don't know the age. I know the age range. It's probably around anywhere between like 4 and 8 years old.
Oh, pretty young.
Oh, young.
I just know it was before I was my tween years, before I was like 12, 13, 14. Because I was like, I needed something, and before I got into music so deeply and so passionately, and that was that period of time when I really got into music. I was into martial arts, and I was always like, oh yeah, I want to, because I remember I was taking karate classes, and I wanted to take Jeet Kune Do classes. Because that's Bruce Lee's form,
Right.
But as like a 5, 6, 7-year-old, whatever, I didn't even know what it was. I was like, I want to take what what Bruce Lee is doing. I want to learn that,
Right.
And my mom's like, no, this is karate. It's right here. You're just going to do that, Yeah, like I remember, I felt like the kid that went viral of his dad filming his kid that did every single move with the nunchucks to Bruce Lee, and he's not looking at the TV.
Yeah.
I felt like that kid back then.
Oh,
wow.
Like I emulated him. I was like, he's so cool in his movements. You copy every movement, his hand gestures. his facial movements, like the way he looked at people, the way he's talking. Like I was a kid just staring and copying every single thing that he was doing. So, and how old is that kid? That kid's got to be like...
He's like 5 or 6 or something. Yeah.
I mean, that kid's a phenomenon.
I was, he's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to be that kid, you know?
In your mind, you were that kid.
Yeah, in my mind, I was that kid, exactly.
And is it because you saw Enter the Dragon or saw some other movie? Do you recall?
It's hard to say what film I saw first, but then I just saw them all, you know?
Right.
You know, Enter the Dragon is definitely the gateway.
Yeah.
For sure. Because it's the most popular film. You know, Fist of Fury, which is also another name for another movie, right? Like they changed it.
Yeah, so Big Boss is also called Fist of Fury.
Right.
Fist of Fury is also called Chinese Connection. Like,
right. They just,
depending where they were released. Yeah.
Because I don't want to say, Fist of Fury and Chinese Connection, they're both different, you know, the same movie. Like, they're both great movies. But, I had the VHS cassette tapes, you know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day. I wanted to see all of them. I even got like Green Hornet, like on cassette, on VHS.
Yeah. And do you think being Asian helped sort of that introduction to him at such a young age, or did you just come across a movie, or? I think was your family into it, or?
It's interesting. I think maybe my brother, it could have been a family member. I'm not sure how it was brought to me. I just remember that I was so infatuated with who he was. And like the kind of power and influence that he had on the screen, because he was Asian, of course, you know. But I didn't realize that as a kid.
Yeah, right.
I remember my name is Steve, and my mom named me that because my older brother was like, "Oh, I love Steve McQueen. I love Steve McQueen." You know, this was in the late '70s. I was born in '77. You know, if you look at all the role models back then, there wasn't that many. Like there's like those guys, but there's like definitely for Asians, it's like pretty much it's only Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So I looked at, as my brother looked at Steve McQueen, that's the way I looked at Bruce Lee. But I definitely relate more to Bruce Lee than Steve McQueen. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was coming from that name, like I don't relate to this guy that doesn't look like me, or you know, you have this idea that like, hey, any Asian can be there because he made it. And then of course as I got older and I, wanted to learn more than just his fighting techniques and the way he did, and like hit his nose with his thumb and all those really cool things that he did on screen, is when later on, in my tweens, is when I met some other friends that were obsessed with Bruce Lee, and we would watch the interviews and read the Tao of Jeet Kune Do, and then buy those books and read the philosophy and go, that's the next layer.
Yeah.
That puts you deeper into the incredible psyche of this man. So it's not just about fighting. It's not it's one thing to like someone because of their fighting skills. Another thing is to see that there's a philosophy behind it. Exactly what you're saying, that you can apply to your everyday life. And it's poetic and beautiful.
Yeah.
Every time he spoke, you just you shudder because it's poetry. And it's something that you were like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like Confucius said this once, and Bruce Lee said this as well. It's like one of those moments,
Yeah, he would just put his spin on it that was both poetic and like a rap at the same time.
Yeah. It's like the first Asian rapper.
Yeah.
Without a beat.
Yeah, marching too.
Well, I want to also ask you kind of touched on this. Before there was a Bruce Lee, was it more challenging for you to figure out how to be a young Asian man in the United States, about kind of formulating identity, what was possible, because, we're minorities, right? And especially in masculinity space, it's challenging for Asian men.
I mean, I had a hard time growing up because when it's funny, I lived in Newport Beach, which is primarily white, and only about 10 minutes away was Irvine, which is primarily Asian. And if I grew up in Irvine, I would have had a different life that I would have led. Probably more comfortable. When you're more comfortable, you make more comfortable decisions. In Newport Beach, it's very conservative there as well. So the air of ignorance is thick, and people get away with saying things and doing things that are racist all the time. Then the subliminal racism starts becoming more apparent, and you can't really dispel it, or you can't really understand how to talk about it because you don't have anyone to really talk about.
Right.
You know, you don't have someone else that can confide in that. You know, because it's a different kind of racism that you get versus like a way a black man would get discriminated against, or a black woman,
right.
or a Mexican man or a Mexican woman. It's a complete different dynamic. And if I brought up to my mom, her concern was, in her Japanese way, don't cause any problems. We're the only ones here. Let's not be ostracized. And she would be the first one to apologize to people if they were racist towards me, saying, we're sorry, just like we're, and that was her way to deal with, that was how it works. It's harder for Asians to speak out when they don't have a community that can support that, So having Bruce Lee and having these strong role models that kicked everyone's ass. Like, we're trying to save, this woman or this man, we're trying to save the situation, so we will fight anyone to get there. And it's an Asian man that did it. Mm-hmm. It's an Asian man that's cool, that's like everyone's rooting for. So that kind of spirit's like, it was incredible, obviously. Yeah, and like you're saying, and like I was saying before, there's not many figures out there. I remember there's another Asian figure that I looked up to, but he covered his face because he was a ninja. It was Sho Kazuki.
Yeah.
So like he was kicking ass, and he also didn't, he wasn't nearly as high of a stature as Bruce Lee, but he was Japanese. So for me, I was like, yo, Sho Kazuki, he's like in these ninja films, but you never saw his face.
Yeah.
I was like, so that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Bruce Lee quote or something about him that's particularly inspiring for you? I mean, you are an Asian man out there forging your own path and living your very unique and individual life, which we want to talk more about. Is there something about Bruce Lee that has helped you on your journey?
Like we were saying before, is like everything he says is just magical. The way he says it just touches you. But I'd say the easiest one for me to remember, and the one that I was actually saying in my when you send an email, says Steve, before I would say Steve, and I would say, be like water by any means necessary. Because that's another slogan that I picked up from Malcolm X, and we brought into our company, Dimmock, and I have by any means necessary tattoo on me. Yeah, so I always say, be like water is probably the one that I always use.
Yeah.
Or the other one that I talk about a lot, and actually applies to my life, is, I don't know the exact verbatim of the quote. Yeah. He said something to the extent of, you have a goal, but don't intend to, that goal is not your intention. It's like you're going to go towards it, you're going to carve your own way, and you're going to go somewhere else.
Right. Sometimes the goal is just something to aim at.
Right.
Right.
So it's more about the journey
right.
than the goal. And all my startups, whether it's Dimmock as a company, for people that don't know, Dimmock, my record label, the reason why I named it that is because it's my fascination with Bruce Lee, and I wanted to come up with something clever, and there's this whole mystery of the Dimmock and Bruce Lee, and I was like, that's such a really cool word. So every time I would start something up or apply myself on something, it wasn't like, what's my 5-year plan? I might have it, but I know I won't. That wherever I go it won't be there, most likely. I'm just going to follow my inspirations and passions, and it's going to get me somewhere else, and I'm just going to go along with that journey.
No, that's great. It's very Bruce Lee of you.
Well, it's a fusion of both. You've set a high goal for yourself, but in the pursuit of that goal, you're being like water. You're being fluid,
right,
and not being so rigid. Sometimes people get so rigid that if they feel like they haven't reached that goal, they feel like, oh, I failed, or I have to do it just because I said I'd do it, instead of understanding the intelligence of the journey and going, oh, well, this was supposed to lead me here, and I'm going to be flexible and move kind of over here. Yeah. So I think that's challenging for a lot of people because we feel safe in boundaries and feel like that's where we should be, but we are trying to encourage everybody listening to take that lesson, because you, like so many people, admire Bruce Lee, and people are like, how do I be like him? And it's not the mimicking of the actual movements, although that's a start, but it's the philosophy. It's like, oh, how you become like him is to be fluid and to be the most like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow your own gut, follow your own instincts, and exactly, like you have your goal there, but chart your own path.
So now you have to get a Be Like Water tattoo.
I know. That is definitely next.
Well, we actually are doing these temporary tattoos for his birthday later in November, and so you can try it out for a while. See if you like it. You can see, should I put it here? Should I put it here? Or just fully sleeve up in all Bruce Lee quotes. Well, I wanted to ask you about when you said you connected with some young friends who are also Bruce Lee fans, and you started reading the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. Who are these guys, and how old were you when you were doing that?
This is right when I got into straight edge hardcore music. So I was 14, and his name was Brandon. He was an interesting kid, and he actually he introduced me to skateboarding. He got me, introduced me to a lot of that scene. But he was also a devout Bruce Lee fan, like myself. So we had different ways that we connected, and we would spar, and we would read Tao of Jeet Kune Do together like it was our Bible.
You had like Bible study, but with
Tao
of Jeet Kune Do?
It was that was our Bible study, Yeah, and then I never actually trained with an actual, someone that was teaching Jeet Kune Do.
Right.
But I always wanted to be like Danny DeSanto and all the guys out there that were actually training that. I had this romantic feeling towards it, so we would always I'd buy the books and read them, and we'd pretend like we knew what we were doing.
Well, I wanted to call attention to that because I want to say that to think about, let's say, two 14-year-old guys in the South Bay, Orange County somewhere, reading philosophy, studying it, being self-directed, it's the kind of thing that nobody ever thinks young people do. But I think that when the source material is compelling, that, not everybody just wants to watch MTV or whatever, I
think, to get there is the question, how do kids get there? And for me, it was watching Bruce talk, and just you just give him a platform, and then I'd watch these the interviews and him talking about whatever it was he was talking about, and I was sucked in. So the next thing to do is actually read the books.
Right.
And they're cool. Like the Tao of Jeet Kune Do is like him, all fierce, and it just looks amazing. And you open it up, and it's not difficult to read. And there's diagrams as well, and all this stuff. So it's not hard reading. It's the hard part is just getting to the book, and because you have to have this interest and desire to open it up and find out more about it. And once you see the man speak, you'll get there. Because it's also something that you said before, it's his energy is alive now, so it's, whether you watched it 20 years ago or you watch it now, you're still going to get something impactful, something powerful out of it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've had many people tell me that they use Bruce Lee movies as babysitters for their young children because he's so engaging on screen.
Yeah.
They put it on, and their little 4 or 5, 6-year-olds will just be riveted to the screen because he's so engaging, and it's that energy just shooting off of him. And so then the hope is that you get so enthralled by that you want to go the next step.
You go a little deeper. And honestly, no harm in anyone else that's killing in the martial arts game and / entertainment. There's no one that had that charm to this day. I loved, what was Jean-Claude Van Damme's film Bloodsport. That was an incredible film, and to me that put him on the map. But still, he just I don't want to say just in general. There's no one that just comes to that level,
Right.
Even everyone loves Chuck Norris. I mean, Chuck Norris is dope. Don't get me wrong, but no one comes to the level that can touch you the way Bruce Lee can touch you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we talk about that all the time, that the reason that is, we feel anyway, is because he was so cultivated as a human being. He had cultivated his sort of vital life force and his path out in the world to a point where you could just feel that authenticity coming off of him.
Yeah, when he was doing acting or martial arts, that you didn't feel an agenda from him. You didn't feel that kind of ego thing.
Right.
It was just pure chi, pure source, pure life force, like coming out at you, so that you could just feel it in a different way than anybody doing a job or doing a job well, but still there's like it's a little bit of a filter between you and that feeling.
And talking about the human side of things, there's a few people that have, really changed the world by their words. And, I think of Bob Marley is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
John Lennon is one of them. Bruce Lee is one of them. And there's only a few people that can really talk to people in a way that really touches you to the soul. Mm-hmm. And you know how genuine, how authentic and human it is. Mm-hmm. It's not about the martial art, really. The martial art is an extension of his philosophy and the human side of everything. So when you get there, then you're a devout fan for life. You're changed, forever. Yeah. In that regard. So it's like the same with Bob Marley, his music touches people, but then when you hear him speak about why he's making this music or what it means to him, then it's something even greater. It's exponentially greater.
I mean, do you think about that as you cultivate your work and what you want to do in the world? I mean, you're greatly inspired by Bruce Lee, and so how does it figure into kind of what you're doing in the world?
I know, of course, being inspired by him informs my creative process, and how I think about making music and, sitting here talking to you guys or talking to other people. But personally, I'm not a poetic guy, I realize I know what my strengths are and I know what my weaknesses are, and I really try to focus on the strengths as best I can, and maybe a little bit too much, I guess for some people. But then I realize when I do give 110% to things that I love, because at the end of the day, my strengths lie in things that I love the most. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give 110% into that. Not to say that I'm the best in that field, because I'm not, but I'm going to give my heart there. And that's what could make me different, to other people that are influenced by me, is that, I'm not saying I'm the best here. I'm just going to do my thing, and you're welcome to be part of this experience.
And that is also very Bruce Lee, because we talk about it all the time, that my father put his heart into